Marshall's eventually vacating the grid and about to head into a position of safety behind the wall. Then we can get this race underway, because of course there's no green flag lap for this one. We're off straight away. Nigel Innes won the race earlier on. The finishing positions from race 1 dictating the grid for race number 2. So it's the works liveried BMW of Nigel Innes that sits there on pole position. The white, black and orange car of Stuart Waite that is alongside, and then it's the orange car of Stephen Pearson with the black and Dayglow car of Darren Stamp, the colours on the first few rows of the grid. This is a 15-minute race. That is the second and final race for these cars here today and this weekend at the Toyo Tyres Racing Saloons at Brands Hatch. And with the red lights coming on now, we'll see Stuart Waite in race number 1 got a great start. It's another fabulous start from Stuart Waite. Again, he's absolutely nailed that off the line and is going to propel the car into the lead of the race on the run up towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. Stuart Waite leads. Nigel Innes is there in second place. Darren Stamp has managed to get the jump on Stephen Pearson, so it's the cars from the outside of the first and second rows of the grid that are through and into the lead. And Stuart Waite there under huge pressure from Nigel Innes, who tried to get his car up the inside heading round through Druids Corner. The door was very quickly closed by Stuart Waite, twice a race winner so far this year. In fact, 3 times a race winner, because he claimed one of the wins at Donington Park and took both of them at Snetterton for the first round of the season. He's through and into the lead of the race, but look at the 4 cars that are already starting to break away from that car that sits there in 5th position. It is Brian Jones who's there in 5th place. Cliff Pellin is there in 6th position. Roger Kneebone is 7th. Then it's Peter Osborne in 8th. Chris Boone in 9th. And it's John Wilcox that completes the top 10 at this stage as they flash their way over the start-finish line, complete lap number 1. And well, you didn't see it, Alan Hyde, but it was a bit like race number 1. Stuart Waite couldn't have got the start any better.
I heard your description. Yep, he's got these cold starts, if you like, if that's the description that they have to be made, but he's absolutely nailed them today. Supreme he was at the start of the first race, and from what you described, he works it even better for race 2, because he's up into the lead of the race. And at the moment, he's being able to fend off the attentions of race 1 winner, Nigel Innes, who's right there in second place. I don't know if you heard, but when I complimented Nigel on his car, that went down very well with team and friends and family. This is, from what I can imagine, this is a truly beloved car within the family, and quite right too. It's right there in second place at the moment. It's all over the back of Stuart Waite. Nigel needs to keep an eye to his mirror, not worry about the mirror, but Darren Stamp and Pearson, Stephen Pearson, are having a jolly good battle there for 3rd place as well. So it's, although he's attacking, is Nigel in second place, needs to keep an eye on that battle behind them, because they are closing up.
Yeah, Stephen Pearson managed to squeeze his way through and ahead of Darren Stamp as they went up towards Druids Corner. He got a little bit squiggly on the way out and was then having to defend on the way down in towards Graham Hill Bend, but the orange car is now up into 3rd position, and Darren Stamp finds himself down into 4th place. And already you can see that the orange car of Stephen Pearson, now he's been released from the grasp of Darren Stamp, has already A, pulled away, and B, started to close in on the leading pair as they come over the start-finish line now. The order remains the same. Stuart Waite under pressure from Nigel Innes, who jinks out from behind to at least show the nose of the car. He's going to take as wide a line as he can in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Waite leads, Innes is 2nd, Stephen Pearson's there in 3rd place. Darren Stamp starting to fall away now in 4th position. Then it's the Gulf liveried car of Brian Jones that's there in 5th place, and the first non-Beamer we've got in the field, as it was in race number 1, is now the Vauxhall Astra VXR in the hands of Peter Osborne. That's the order that they are in, but Stuart Waite has got a lot of work to do here as he's having to stick his elbows out to try and keep race 1 winner behind.
He absolutely is, and it's a great battle to watch as well. Nigel Innes doing the best he possibly can to force some kind of error from Stuart Waite, but he got the start absolutely perfect, and at the moment he has not been forced into any kind of error, and he's under a huge amount of pressure as well. Nigel Innes, race 1 winner, is directly behind. They come up towards the line. Nigel Innes has got more speed, pulls out to the left-hand side on the run down towards Paddock Hill Bend. But I'll tell you what, this championship, we said it once before today, is not about rubbing, and any kind of contact is pretty much frowned upon between them, because they have to look after these beautiful cars, and look after them they are, because they're heading down towards the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend, and now it is going to be a trio for the lead, isn't it? They all close up together as they go around Graham Hill Bend, but at the moment Stuart Waite doing a super job of keeping race 1 winner Nigel Innes behind, and in turn Stephen Pearson is right there now in third.
Yeah, it's very close, isn't it, between all of them. Stephen Pearson's actually set the fastest lap we've seen in the race so far. They're on lap 5. He set it on lap 3 with a 53.766 second lap as they'll come over the start-finish line. Won't be that much longer before they're amongst some of the traffic as well. And again, Stuart Waite just making sure that he hooks the right-hand side of the pit wall as they go over the start-finish line, which then means that Nigel Innes has either got to go all the way around the outside at Paddock Hill Bend or try and cut back on the exit of the corner. He hasn't been able to do either this time on the run up towards Druids, so through the right hand at Druids Bend they'll go before they charge their way back downhill. Won't be that much longer, as we say, before they start to catch up with Kieran Lehane's Citroen Saxo that's having its own little squabble at this stage with Jamie Vickers with his E30 320 BMW car number 27, and they're going to meet the back markers just as they get towards Surtees corner. Stuart Waite so late on the brakes and has now just been able to squeeze his way through and past the first couple of back markers, but the top 3 absolutely locked together again as they come over the start-finish line. He was so late on the brakes when he was heading up towards the back marker. For a second I thought he might clobber him.
Yeah, but he didn't.
He didn't, no, great driving.
That's the skill. I remember once complaining, they go side by side into Paddock Hill Bend, and once again Nigel Innes just has to slot in behind. Yeah, I remember complaining to my police inspector neighbour once that the previous night I was out on the dual carriageway just round the corner actually from here, and a police car with its lights on and its siren on was in the middle of the road and avoided me by an inch. And I complained to my police inspector friend, my neighbour, and he said, well, he missed you, didn't he? And that's enough. So that's good driving. Yeah, OK, fair enough. That's a very good point. And that was exactly what Stuart Waite did on the last lap, wasn't it? He was oh so close, but no contact was made. It's good racing from these 3.
Yeah, very clean, isn't it? It's a shame we've not got Carl Catliffe fighting his way up from the tail end of the field, because he retired in race number 1 and was arguably one of the quicker drivers among the field, but has not been able to get the car repaired for race number 2. Over the start-finish line now come 8.5 minutes still to go. Stuart Waite still having to soak up the pressure from Nigel Innes, who as yet has not been able to work his way through into the lead of the race. It's not for want of trying. Again, he's going to try and close up again as they head up towards Druids. This time he brakes as late as he can. He's going to try around the outside. If he can do it all the way around the outside, it gives him the inside line for Graham Hill Bend, but didn't quite work there. Stuart Waite just runs the car a little bit wide, which means that Nigel Innes has to get off the gas for a split second, and from being side by side, they're back to being nose to tail yet again. We've got Peter Osborne, by the look of things, the Vauxhall Astra retiring at the bottom of Paddock Hill Bend, so that means that now Cliff Pellin is going to be the first non-BMW in the field.
So the leaders already making their way through clearways up towards Clark Curve. They're going to be well amongst the traffic in a minute. There are 4 cars on the Brabham Straight, and the leaders are just coming onto it now. Up towards the line they go. It's a repeat every single lap. It's a repeat because Nigel Innes goes over to the left, just lets him know that he's there, tries not to leave the door too open for Stephen Pearson there in 3rd place. They're into the traffic now on the run up towards Druids. The traffic gets neatly out of the way. That's the little diesel car of Carl Graves, a very good looking car as well, isn't it? The BMW, as they make their way down towards Graham Hill Bend, through Graham Hill Bend, through the left-hander onto the Cooper Straight they go. Stephen Pearson has dropped back a little bit, maybe thinking discretion the better part of valor. Those 2 are getting pretty close. I may be able to pick something up here if something goes wrong, but at the moment nothing is going wrong because the car of Stuart Waite is not putting a wheel wrong, even in traffic. Nigel Innes continues to apply the pressure, and this time they've got 4 cars directly in front of them as they come up towards the line with the lights on through the traffic, the continental yellow lights as they come down towards Paddock Hill Bend, turn into the corner through the right-hander of Paddock Hill Bend they go. Just ticking off the traffic one by one as they head up towards Druids, and still like an annoying little spaniel that won't go away. Nigel Innes is still there in the wheel tracks, despite however many back markers you throw at the 2 of them, they are completely inseparable.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing to choose between them, is there? The next of the cars are going to meet is going to be Jamie Jeffries, red E30 M3, car number 350. I think Stuart Waite is probably going to meet that just as they get towards McLaren or up towards Clearways corner. Does the back marker see them coming? Let's have a quick look. No, just almost. Now there's contact between the back marker and Stuart Waite, who just didn't see him coming. Stuart Waite is all over the grass. He's gathered up the moment. He's lost the lead of the race and, by the look of things, gone from first down into third position. Well, every other time they've been through the back markers, he'd made the right decisions, he'd timed it correctly, and well, it certainly looked as though, as Jamie Jeffrey went into the corner, there was a big old gap there, but he clearly hadn't seen the slower traffic working its way through. Thankfully, both cars have been able to continue, despite the fact that for a split second, Jamie Jeffrey was very much, what, 90 degrees to the circuit?
Listen back to your commentary, it was absolutely perfect. They come up towards a back marker. Has he seen them? No. Because that was exactly as it unfolded. It was almost like it was happening in slow motion. I'm sure it wasn't that way for Stuart Waite, but he did very well to keep it all together on the grass, rejoin in third place. I'm sure he'll be closing up on the back of Stuart Pearson's car within a couple of laps if he's allowed to do so, because he's been carrying great pace race long. He's got 5 more minutes of the race. What can he salvage? Nigel Innes, meanwhile, was able to make the most of that, kept well out the way, right on the wide line, on the outside line, kept away from the trouble, and is now leading. Stuart Pearson not allowing him to get away. In turn, Stuart Waite is keeping with them as well. It's all about traffic, isn't it, with this differential of so many classes, so many differences in power. And now Stuart Pearson in second place is coming under pressure, isn't he, from Stuart Waite. He wants that place back. He doesn't want to let Nigel Innes get away, and Nigel Innes is the one that's been applying the pressure up until this point. Here they go. This is going to be a fascinating final 4 minutes.
It is great, isn't it? The gap just ebbing and flowing between the two of them. And again, Stuart Waite's held up by the back markers to E30, M3 squabbling away, and well, Stuart Waite lost time there to Stephen Pearson, so all of that hard work that he'd done at the beginning part of the lap has all come undone again this time. Through they go. Nigel Innes, race 1 winner, leads the race. Stephen Pearson is there in second position, and then in third place it is Stuart Waite, but the top 3 looking reasonably equidistantly spread. We've got Darren Stamp still sitting there very much on his own now in 4th position. That's the black car with the day glow flashes to it. 5th place is Brian Jones, and 6th place now is car number 100, John Wilcox, which means that Cliff Pellin is there in 7th place. Roger Kneebone is 8th. The Jaguar XJS of Chris Boone is 9th. And completing the top 10 is car number 39 that completes the top 10. That's Mike Collins, who had issues this morning in qualifying and therefore started race 1 from the tail end of the grid. Since then, though, he's had a couple of solid races, hasn't he?
Stuart Waite could justifiably think that people don't like him at the end of this race, couldn't he? Because twice he's had an issue making his way through the traffic. I'm sure that's not the case in any way at all, but he's the only one of the top 3 who seems to have had issues getting through the traffic, and there is plenty of traffic to try and get through, isn't there? Let's have a look as we have now completed 13 laps for the top 3. The gap between the top 2 less than 1 second, so Stephen Pearson 0.8 of a second behind Nigel Innes, who leads, and in turn the difference is 1.4 seconds back to Stuart Waite in 3rd place, and Stamp has come through. Darren Stamp has come through in 4th place, car number 45, some 3.2 seconds behind in turn. John Wilcox soon to come across the line in number 100, completing the top 6, and Nigel Innes continues to lead.
And yet again, Stuart Waite's losing more time again. He just can't find his way through the back markers, and I think it was the BMW of Mike Collins he was trying to squeeze his way through at the same time as Mike Collins was trying to stay on the coattails of the Jaguar XJS of Chris Boone, but all of that has cost Stuart Waite, car number 1, yet more time through the traffic. He was 1.4 seconds adrift of the orange car of Stephen Pearson. Through goes Nigel Innes, through goes Stephen Pearson, and what was 1.4 seconds between the two of them comes out to 2.1 seconds between the two of them. Yeah, he lost 3/4 of a second again on that lap through the traffic.
Yeah, sometimes the cards fall the right way and sometimes they really don't, and they have not fallen the way of Stuart Waite in this race. But on the plus side, I always like to, if I get to interview a driver, I always try to fill them with the confidence of still Stuart, 2 very good starts. I mean, that's all you can do, isn't it? He's had 2 brilliant starts, but working his way through the traffic maybe hasn't gone according to plan. They're making their way through the right-hander at McLaren. Up towards Clearways they go. The top 3, they've not got too much traffic to deal with for a little while. They've got 1 solitary car coming up towards the line now that they'll deal with in due course. That's the number 10 car, makes its way across the line of Roger Kneebone, and the race leader Nigel Innes. Across the line goes Stephen Pearson. On the We've got now 1 minute and 10 seconds, so 2 more laps to go. Nigel Innes it is that leads, 1.1 the advantage he has over Stephen Pearson, and Waite is now slightly more distant, 2.2 seconds behind in third.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, it will be the class winners that will head to the podium on this one, so we won't even get the opportunity to have a chat to Stuart Waite.
I think it's just as well.
He's going to be rather disgruntled, though. He was all there, wasn't he, ready for the race win, and sort of all came unravelled in a split second, didn't it, frustratingly. Nigel Innes is looking good to do the double here, as he, for the penultimate time, is about to turn his way through towards the completion of the lap, so up towards Clark Curve. He will go, closing in on the number 10 car of Roger Kneebone, who occupies 8th position. That's the last of the cars that remains on the lead lap currently. So through they go, 20 seconds to go, onto the last lap. Nigel Innes leads by just 0.9 of a second from Stephen Pearson, who has closed in on this lap, with Stuart Waite now, I think, just settling in for third position. Darren Stamp, number 45, is there in 4th place. Then it's Brian Jones with the a light blue BMW that sits there in 5th position. It's fairly lonely 5th place for him in reality, because the lead 4 are long over the start-finish line, and only now, heading onto the Brabham Straight, comes the 5th place car, as our race leader for the final time is safely onto the Cooper Straight. He can just bide his time to work his way through and past Roger Kneebone, because he's got a second to play with. Roger Kneebone sees him coming, moves neatly out of the way. Nigel Innes has dealt with the car in 8th position, put it a lap down, and can now just concentrate on hitting the accelerator, going up through the gears, and he is going to take a double win here in the Toyo Tyres Racing Saloons at Brands Hatch this weekend. Through he comes. Nigel Innes claims the win. Stephen Pearson comes through in 2nd position. Frustrating race for Stuart Waite, who will finish in 3rd position. 4th place will go the way of Darren Stamp, who has now just gone through and taken the checkered flag. 5th place should be the light blue machine in the hands of Brian Jones. He's just threading his way out of clearways and up towards Clark Curve. The number 9 car will come through and finish in what will be 5th position. 6th place should go the way of John Wilcox, but he's being hounded by the Ford Fiesta of Cliff Pellin, and Cliff has really caught up over the course of the last lap or so. So through goes Brian Jones in 5th, and John Wilcox in a straight line. Has he got the grunt over the Ford Fiesta? Indeed he has. So John Wilcox finishes in 6th place. Cliff Pellin in 7th at the wheel of the Fiesta. Roger Kneebone in 8th position. 9th place goes away of the Jaguar XJS of Chris Boone, and completing the top 10 is where we see car number 39, which was Mike Collins from the tail end of the field. So if you want any results for today, on the basis of it's a very tightly packed programme of events, and MSVR have been very efficient on rattling through everything that we've seen today, a good idea probably just to log on to tsl-timing.com, tsl-timing.com, and from there you can download a PDF file and complete your programmes at your leisure once you get home.
Let's get the podium presentation underway. Class winners in reverse order. Winner of Class G, Carl Graves onto the podium. Well done, Carl. Congratulations. Second time a winner. He's a big guy as well, really tall guy. Well done. Many congratulations. The winner of Class F, I reckon, is Sam Strong. Am I correct? I am. Very good. A driver moves. That's always a good sign. And he makes his way onto the podium. The winner of Class E, I reckon, tell me if I'm wrong, Kieran Lehane. Is it? Yes, very good. Hey, I've done well. Fantastic. This is all going awfully well. The winner of Class D, as the cars go off on their green flag lap, I reckon, is Cliff Pellin. Hey, very good. Marvellous. He makes his way onto the podium. This is all going shockingly well. All the drivers appearing here. The winner of Class C, I reckon, is John Wilcox. Always correct. Well done, John. Very good. The winner of Class B, I reckon, is Chris Boone onto the podium. Well done, Chris. Many congratulations. And no mistake about the winner of Class A. The winner overall, second time today, Nigel Innes onto the podium. Well done, Nigel. Congratulations. What a supreme podium. Stephen Green, it's all down to you. Well done. Many congratulations. Still, you had enough practice, didn't you? There we go. Marvellous. Very good. So they're all on the podium. A nice photograph of all 7 of them. I've enjoyed this podium. You dare lock me in. You dare lock me in. They haven't got... No, they're not going to spray champagne. A very quick word with Nigel. That was a slightly different race this afternoon.
That was a lot harder. Yeah, I think Stu would have won that if he didn't have unfortunate incident with the back marker.
But he seemed to continually have... he didn't get past back markers cleanly even after that. There were another couple of incidents. I just don't think... I don't think the cards were falling for him this afternoon.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate.
Does get a good start though, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, a blinding start. I don't know how he done that, but that was blinding.
I don't think any of us, and if you ask him, he won't tell you, I'm sure of it. There we go. Well done, guys. Thank you very much indeed. That's a marvellous podium with all of our class winners. Thank you, James, for organising that. A bit of fun as well.